So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Who back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Friday, July 2nd. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Friday, July 2nd here today, coming off of another night in sports. The New York Mets had a game yesterday. They took a loss to the Atlanta Braves. But other than that, other than the game yesterday by the Mets, the Yankees got postponed. You had the Hawks, Bucks on, and Lightning Canadians play today. So last night, there was a good amount of baseball on. Baseball obviously is on every night. But other than that, there was nothing special, nothing crazy on, just some baseball games. And the Mets were on, and, the rest of the MLB were on. And you had the Bucks and the Hawks, and the Bucks take Game 6, or take Game 5, rather. So now they head to Game 6, which will be back in Atlanta. You got to hope that Trae Young's back in that game. Without Trae Young, the Hawks are not the same team. They don't look like the same team. And frankly, I don't think they can even win without Trae Young at this point. They kind of did that one game when he was out, and stuff. But, then Giannis was out. And, I think if the Bucks just game plan the right way, without Trae Young, this Hawks team's going to really struggle. And, the Bucks last night did a great job winning without Giannis. They went out there, they fought, they, played every possession really hard. They were physical. And, a lot of really big guys stepped up. You had a lot of guys that stepped up, and that's one of the things. Guys that were stepping up. Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis. Those were the guys that unsung heroes of last night's game. Those were the guys that needed to step up. Those were the guys that when you need depth, when you need guys to contribute off your bench, they came through, they got the job done, and the Bucks won pretty comfortably. I believe it was like 11 or something point game against the Hawks, so they move up 3-2 in the series, and now they could take it home tomorrow night. They could move on to the NBA Finals tomorrow night. We'll see how it all plays out, though. Yankees play today against the Mets, the start of the Subway Series. It is July 2nd as we head into 4th of July weekend. So they will head into New York to play the Yankees, although the Mets also play in New York. But at Yankee Stadium, Yankees versus Mets, start of a 3-game set today. It will be a weekend series, so tonight, Saturday, and then Sunday. So super exciting. I'm pumped for it. Obviously, anytime you get the Subway Series, it's exciting. And I know the thing I was talking about yesterday was, how is the pitching going to be? So today, Montgomery's starting. Tomorrow, Cole will start. And then Sunday, King will start. So if everything goes well, if the weather stays put, those will be the 3 guys starting this weekend. So Monty was supposed to pitch yesterday. Obviously, the game yesterday got postponed. So Monty will pitch tonight. Cole will pitch tomorrow. King will pitch on Sunday. So everything got set back again. Nothing too crazy. Nothing bad. Everything just got stepped back yesterday. Technically, yesterday was kind of like an off day for them. So it's just an extra day rest for Cole, Monty, and guys like that. And then you get the off day on Monday, and that's really when you could reset. And then you head into Seattle for 3, then Houston for 3, and you come back home and I think Boston, and then now I'm stretching all the way towards the end of July, but that's kind of their upcoming schedule. So Yankees play today, Mets play today. They play against each other. So that will be the first game of the 3-game set there. And other than that, Lightning Canadians Game 2 tonight, and then you have a big weekend full of sports coming up. You got Lightning tonight, you got the rest of the NBA playoffs tomorrow, then you got we'll find out tomorrow whether it's going to a Game 7 or not, and an opportunity for the Lightning tonight to take Game 3 and then Sunday wrap the series up. But we'll see we'll see how all that pans out. So, with all that being said, let's get into the topics for today's podcast. Obviously, a Friday podcast, so finishing off the week. Like I mentioned, there's so much to get to. I have made the decision that I'm going to talk about the Clippers on Monday. I'm not going to really talk about them really getting eliminated. I'm going to kind of talk about their off-season plan, like kind of what they should do in the off-season, because it's a big off-season for the Clippers. There's still a lot of questions surrounding the team. What are they going to do? Are they going to restart? Are they going to go all in? Are they going to go out and build? Are they going to kind of stay put with what they got and believe as long as Kawhi stays healthy and Paul George stays healthy, they can win it next season? Because this is 2 years now of the expectation of getting there They've not gotten there. And they missed it last year, and they missed it again this year. So that's 2 years in a row. And usually when you go all in on teams, usually super teams last about 2 to 3 years. It's like 1 or 2 championships, and then things get blown up after that. They haven't won yet. So I'll talk about that on Monday. But today, I want to get to the NCAA, their new NIL deal. So the new NIL deal is a little confusing to understand. To be honest, yesterday I knew I wanted to get to it. I wanted to talk about it, but it was still a little confusing to me. But today or yesterday, it got officially announced that the NIL deal will be approved by the NCAA. So this allows student athletes to get paid money off of their own logos, off of their own brand. They can now partner with other brands. They can now sign partnership and stuff like that. So this used to never happen. It used to never be like this. You were used to never be allowed to be on anything. You were never allowed to sign with a brand. They never got paid. So they're not getting paid to play. It's not like, oh, here, I'll give you a 5-year deal to do this. No, that's not the case. They're getting endorsements now. So you can make your own logo, for example, put it on T-shirts and stuff like that. People buy it, and you get some of that money in return. So that's kind of what it is now. It's their own branding, so they're allowed to do it now, and obviously we see a lot of the pro athletes do it. You're allowed to sign endorsements deals, so I'll get into all that, get into my opinion on it, and talk about that there. Then I wanted to get into the All-Star Game starters revealed. Last night, the All-Star Game for the MLB got revealed. The starters, not the reserves yet, but the starters got revealed last night. And the big guy that I look at is, obviously from a New York sports perspective, is Aaron Judge. He is starting in right field for the American League All-Star team. Well-deserved by him, obviously. I think he's been the best Yankees player this season, not only on the offensive side of the ball, but the plays that he can make on the defensive side. And, he's just had an excellent season. And, a lot of people question him going into this year with, his health and stuff. And, so far he's been healthy. So far he's played, 78, 79 games. So, knock on wood, he's been healthy and he's been playing well. And if he continues to do this is really great for the New York Yankees. So I'll get into that. I'll get into all the rest of the stuff. Vlad Guerrero led the voting. So it's just unreal that he is this good. But he did lead the voting. And then I wanted to get into the New York Sports Update. And we'll finish off the podcast with the New York Sports Update as always. Do it every podcast, and as I always say, put the cherry on top for another week in the books of podcasts. Obviously, Monday through Friday, so today we'll finish off the podcast for the week, get you ready for the weekend. Yankees, Mets, Subway Series starts tonight at Yankee Stadium, and then you got a bunch of other good games this weekend. You got the Lightning on tonight, Lightning Canadians, you got some more NBA playoffs tomorrow. Then Sunday, Yankees-Mets will be on Sunday Night Baseball, then 4th of July. So, a very exciting weekend ahead with 4th of July. And I've always said it's nothing better than 4th of July in baseball. It's awesome. It's great. America's pastime. So, yeah, that's exciting. And, that's what I got on top for this Friday podcast. So, with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's go right into it. So NCAA approves interim policy to allow athletes to profit off NIL. Will start July 1st. So NIL obviously stands for name, image, and likeness. So this, I got to admit, I was a little confused at first when all this was coming out. This wasn't just yesterday. This has been in the works for the past couple months here, trying to approve the deal, get the bill passed and all that stuff. It actually involved, the Supreme Court and all that stuff. So it got into, some real stuff because, in order for a student athlete to, get money, get paid and stuff like that, it's going to take a lot. You can't just make a logo and get paid and expect it be all good. It needed to get passed, it needed to get approved and all that stuff. Now it's kind of officially approved. I will admit, at first I was slightly confused on it, when I was first hearing all of this stuff, because, it does take some things that are outside of sports, like, NIL and, getting paid and all that stuff. It does take some, knowledge that involves, like, outside of sports stuff, the Supreme Court and passing the bill and, all these players wanting to do it and all this. And it's been in the talks for a really long time. And this year, obviously, now that they officially approved it, it's kind of really become a reality that, players now will be able to get paid and be able to get money and profit off of the NIL, which stands for name, image and likeness. So pretty much that means, you can make a logo with your name, image, and all that stuff, and pretty much you could, put it out there on the internet, and, people like the logo, you could get it, blah, 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 so on and so forth, and you get money off of that logo. So that's kind of what's happening with this move. And, obviously for the longest time now, in college sports, players would go out there, they would play, they would do all that stuff. They would, you could wear Nike, you could wear whatever you want, and they would never have their own brand. They would never have their own logo. They would never be able to partner with any big brand, like an Under Armour, like a Nike, like a Jordan, like anything like that. They would never be able to partner with any of that. That was just not allowed in college because you could not gain money off of that way. Used to just be last season in college football, college basketball, any college. Like that's what I'm saying now too, is any college sport. It could be swimming. You could go anywhere. You could go all the way to college. I don't know, what's a college? You could go college, whatever. You could do anything. It could be college hockey, college baseball, college basketball, college football. It could be any of it. Now, you really see the big name players in the college footballs and the college basketballs taking advantage of it the most, because those are the big name players. Those are the guys that names are big. And those are the guys that are mainly, taking advantage of it early on, because those are the guys that can grow their name, make some money off of, their image and stuff like that. And I think it's a great idea, because, when you see a big college athlete come through, a couple years ago when Zion Williamson was taking college sports by storm, was obviously the no doubt was going to be the number one overall pick in the NBA draft that year with Duke. He was never able to, make his own brand, make his own logo, and, profit any money off of that, because the NIL was not in place then. So if you're going to ask me personally if I think this is good to see, players now able to make money off of their own logo, I think it's a great idea. I think it's good for the sport. I think it's good for, the players, because, you see a guy like a big name like Zion, a big name like Zion Williamson and stuff, and, sure, he was a big name and all that, and, it was great to watch him, but he couldn't, make any money off of making his own brand. I mean, just imagine if he could have had his own brand in college, and then, just had his own brand in college, and, could have grow that into the NBA, and, maybe made his own shoe or whatever, or made his own logo, and could have grown that into the NBA, and he could have been even such a bigger name, and he could have been making a lot more money, and he could have, went to the NBA already with a partnership and a brand and a logo and kind of stuff like that. And that's now what the college is giving these colleges, and, this new bill that got passed now is giving the opportunity to these players to, really just grow their name. That's kind of the big thing of this. It's your ability to grow your name, right? Because in college, you're not the biggest name person in the world. You might be a big name. Trevor Lawrence was a big name. Zion was a big name, right? When you get drafted, you're going to be a big name, coming out of a college, right? So that's obviously that. But now it's an opportunity to even grow your name to another level, with, now your brand. You can make your own logo, and you can make a little money off of it. And that's an opportunity for these players to make some money, to profit off of it, and to grow their brand as they get into the older parts of their career and get into pro sports if they get there. And, when they're in pro sports, they can continue to grow their brand. And there's also a big opportunity that with them growing their brand, that once they get to the, if they get to a pro sport, whether that's the MLB, NFL, you could start, you become a bigger name, you could start the partnership with some big brands like Nike and Under Armour and stuff like that, and that's when you could start to really get into the big stuff. So how I see this, it's like just the starting point to what could come. And that's, starting off with your own little brand, your logo, stuff like that, and then growing it and continuing to grow it and grow it and grow it and grow it. And then you get to the pro sport and you become, maybe a big name, and you become, and all of a sudden your brand becomes much bigger, and you start to grow a lot more, and your name starts to get around, and all of a sudden these big name companies like Nike, Under Armour want to team up with you, and all of a sudden you're making all this money, and you're making your own shoe, and you're signing shoe deals and all that stuff. That's what this is kind of like setting up. It's just a small part of what could come for college athletes now, right? And sure, is every college athlete going to capitalize on this? Not necessarily. Not every college athlete's going to capitalize on this. You also have to have a name for yourself. Like you can't be a no name and just start doing this and people not have any clue who you are, because your name's never going to get out there, your brand's not going to get out there. No one's going to really pay attention to that. You got to be actually a little bit of a household name. Like, I'm sure if Trevor Lawrence was still in college, I'm sure, he would have been a guy that a lot of people would have focused on. Is this guy going to make a logo? What is he going to do? Right? And I think that would have been, cool. And that's the one thing that, you look at this deal and you're super excited about it, but you look at what it could have been. What could have been, Zion, and when Zion came through college, and you even go to the Ball, the Ball brothers, because they were a big name as well, and you go to Anthony Edwards, and you go to college football, and you go to like Trevor Lawrence's and all those guys. Like, you wonder if this NIL deal was in place, how much that could help them as they get to the NFL, because they could have. They were already big names. Plus, if they make a logo, make their brand, grow their brand, get to the NFL, get to the MLB, get to the NBA, whatever sport you're playing in, and all of a sudden your brand doubled, and now all of a sudden you're getting, you're teaming up with some big name companies. And like I said, that's kind of what this is, just the start to that. And like I mentioned, if you had to ask me whether I like this or not, with people, with players allowed to do this, I think it's good. I think it's great that the players are allowed to, make money off of some of these deals. Because you got to realize, all these colleges, they have all this money in the world. They have all this money. You got to, pay all this stuff, and they have all the money in the world. And they technically are, these colleges have all the money. They're not allowed, they're not be able to give any of it to any of the players or anything like that, which is fine. But with all these colleges having all this money, it's now finally an opportunity for the players to make some of the money of their own, and you could set up your career, in a big way, making your own logo and, and growing your brand. And what other point did I want to hit? So obviously, with the colleges having all this money, the players now also have the opportunity to make some money, because you got to realize the players, they're the student athletes, they're the guy that, they're people are going to watch, people that are paying to watch, paying money to go into the stadium and watch them. So, they definitely deserve to, grow a name for themselves. And as they get up the ranks in pro sports, and even it could just set you up, even if you don't go to the pro route, it could just set you up in general for many different things to come. And I want to make this clear, because still a lot of people, and I got to admit, I was a little confused at first, but still a lot of people don't understand yet. Like, they're not getting paid to play. They're not getting paid to go out there and play. It's not like, it's not like every game they play, they're getting a certain amount of money. That's not the case. They're not getting paid to play the sport. So at college football, they're not getting paid. Like, one of the guys that have been, already made his logo and, already trying to grow his brand is Graham Mertz on Wisconsin. He's the quarterback. Like, he's not going to get paid to play the games. Like, when when a new guy comes to college, they're not going to be like, oh, here, 4-year deal for this amount of money, right? And certain incentive. That's not the case. You're not getting paid to play football or baseball. You're getting paid off of your own brand. You're getting paid off of, you're going to profit, and you're going to get some money off of making your own brand and growing that brand and having people buy your brand, whether that's, a logo, whether that's a partnership, whatever that is, that's what it's now. So I just want to make that clear, because there's still some people out there I see that are like, they're getting paid to play. You're not getting paid to play. You could play all you want. You're not going to get any money from playing. You're going to get money off of, your logo. If you have partnership, you're going to profit off of that. That's what you're profiting off of. And I shouldn't even use the word getting paid, because it's more so you're profiting. You're getting some money in return, right? You're making the logo. You put it on a t-shirt, people buy that logo, you'll profit some of that money back. You'll get some of that money in return. And like I said, name, image, likeness is what it stands for, NIL. So, for example, name and image. You make an image, you put your name in it, whatever, you make a cool image, boom, just like that. I mean, people have that all around. I mean, you see that with Tom Brady, for example. Not saying that anyone in college sports is that big as Tom Brady, but you see his name, right? He's got a name on his hat, it's TB12. Or it says TB, and then you could see the 12 in it, right? That's his own, that's his brand, that's his image, that's his name in there. So You could, I don't know. I think you could buy that. I don't know if you could buy the TB12 hat. I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. That's besides the point, though. But that's what this is. It's the, you can, your own logo, building out of your own logo, making a profit out of your own logo. And you could grow that once you get to pro sports. And once you get to a pro sport, right, that the door opens even more, because that's when you start to get recognized more. Nationally, you get recognized more. That's when, some of these bigger brands might want to start to partner with you and work with you. And that's how this could really grow. So this isn't just for college. This is something that could be setting you up for years to come. And, I believe that's good, because, these players are in a way already growing their brand before they've even gone to the pro sports. And a lot in years past, you had to get to pro sports, you had to, earn your stripes, you had to do all that, and then you can maybe start to work with a brand. Right? So that's what's pretty cool about it. And you just wonder, like what Michael Jordan could have done. With Michael Jordan, if it was allowed back then with the NIL and players to profit money off of their own, logos and stuff like that. And and now also you see too now with the new NIL deal, you also might see now the NCAA might incorporate actual players in the game, and you might actually see logos and stuff like that. Players in the game, meaning the NCAA football new video game that's going to come out. It's very one of these years. You might actually be able to see players now, because that's all a part of the new deal. And yeah, so that's kind of it. And I think it's good, because all these colleges have all this money, and it doesn't really make sense why the players can't make, some of the money off of, or profit some money off of, their own brand, growing their brand, and it could set them up for years to come as you get to it. I mean, you look at Jordan brand. Like, look how big that has gotten. He partnered with, Nike and stuff, and they put it on a shoe, and, made his shoe, and he designed his shoe and all that stuff, right? You see it all over. Kevin Durant. Right? Look at this. Kyrie Irving. He has his own brand. You could buy a t-shirt with Kyrie's logo on it. It's like a K, and it's got like water on it, because it's like, it's just saying in basketball, it's like, or whatever it is. But you could buy Kyrie's logo. Kyrie has his own logo. You could buy that, put on a t-shirt. He also has his own shoe. So, they're going to get some return on that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, these guys start to make logos, these guys start to make, their brand and stuff, and they start to grow it. That's when you can get into the big partnerships with Nike and Under Armour. Curry's partnered with Nike, or not Nike, Under Armour. Durant's partnered with like Nike. Kyrie's partnered with, I believe it's also Nike. Let's see, who are other people? I believe Harden's with Adidas. So those are just a couple names. And I'm not just naming Nets players, I'm just saying, like, Michael Jordan, he's partnered with Nike. He's got his Jordan shoe. He's made a ton of Jordan shoes. And that's really what it all comes down to. Is, growing your brand. And, when you get up to the big stage, when you get up to the sports, and when you get up to, really pro sports and stuff like that, that's when you could start to sign, with these companies like Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, all that stuff. I believe Judge, too. I believe he's with Adidas, I believe. I think Trout's either with New Balance or Nike. I'm not sure. I know Harper, I believe, is with Under Armour. I believe Harper is with Under Armour. I'm just naming athletes off the top of my head that have already been partnerships and signed partnerships. And you could put, like Harper, too. He's got a logo. All these guys, they can get all these guys got logos, and that's when you could start to sign deals. That's what's happening here, except now it's also allowed in college. All right, so let's read this quick article here, and then we'll get into then we'll kind of finish off the segment. So NCAA approves interim policy to allow athletes to profit off NIL will start July 1st. The NCAA's Division I Board of Directors approved an interim policy Wednesday that will allow athletes to profit from their name, image, and likeness. The Athletics' Nicole Auerbach first reported the news. Auerbach described the policy, which is set to go into effect Thursday, as a stopgame measure until federal lawmakers craft NIL-regulated legislation. The step also comes one day after some states are set to allow college athletics to receive compensation from their name, image, and likeness. It's also got to pass through the state stuff. Momentum had long been building to this date, especially once states been crafting their own legislations. When California Governor Gavin Newsom signed the first NIL bill in late 2019, the floodgates were opening. The United States Supreme Court effectively eliminated any doubt that the 9 justices voted unanimously against the NCAA and NCAA versus Ellison last Monday. The ruling allowed schools to provide unlimited education-related compensation to athletes. And with Thursday's deadline quickly arriving, the NCAA had to create nationwide guidelines. Otherwise, it was facing a situation in which some schools could presumably be at an advantage because their athletes could be paid for their name, image, likeness while remaining eligible. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine just signed an executive order after NIL legislation was first introduced in May. Surely the fact that states such as Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, home of some of Ohio State's football's chief recruiting rivals, and an area of the country OSU recruits heavily, the NIL laws set to go into effect on July 1st created a sense of urgency, the Athletics Bill Landis wrote at the time. So some athletes, such as Wisconsin's quarterback Graham Mertz and Iowa guard Jordan Bohannon, offered a taste of what's to come. So Graham Mertz already had his own logo, and Jordan Bohannon, who's a guard, also had his. So he put it on a shirt, for example. So he put it on a shirt. So, it's just so it's, he put it on a shirt and he could profit off of this and, stuff like that. So that's kind of what it is. And he's had it looks like his own website as well. And he made his own logo. So he put stuff on a shirt and, people want to buy that shirt. He can make money off of that. That's kind of what it is. Same thing with Graham Mertz. He had his own logo. He was one of the first ones to do it, but I think it's good. I think it's cool to see now players that are allowed to, make some, get some profit off of it. Auerbach made it clear athletes are not able to explicitly set play for play. No one can offer them $20,000 if they sign with school X. The deals have to be related to NIL. Like I mentioned earlier, you're not playing and then getting paid. Like this says, $20,000 to sign with this school. No, it's not like this school's offering you $20,000 to come play for them. That's not the case. You got to have your own brand. You got to make profit off of that. You're not getting paid. You're not, going out there and playing. You're not paying for it. You're not getting paid for that. That will probably that's what pro sports is for. You're not going out there and playing, and then you're not going out there to play and do that. You're not doing that. You're going out there playing, and then you could also have your own logo, and you could possibly wear that logo out there when you're playing. Now, that doesn't make any difference, but that's what it is. You're not getting paid to play. It's not like in the NFL, you're signing a 4-year deal with this team. No. Or MLB. Same thing, NBA, NHL. It's not the case. It's your own logo, it's your brand, it's image, it's NIL. Name, image, likeness. So you can make your own logo, you can make your own, t-shirt, make your own that, people buy it, you profit off of that. Then, once you get to the pro leagues, big leagues, that's when you could start to sign with big partnerships. Beyond that, it's impossible to truly know what the new normal will look like in college sports because a shift like this always created unintended consequences. But for those who have argued in favor of college athletes receiving additional compensation beyond a college degree, Thursday is a moment long overdue. So, personally, I've never been really pushing for it. I've never been like, you got to do this. I've kind of just been, just following this and seeing what it's all about. I think it's exciting. I think it's good. But like I said, it's nothing like it's nothing like that. But that's all, and that's another thing I mean too. Is now you could actually these players, it's another thing too with jerseys and buying their jersey, right? You now could buy probably a jersey of a player now, and that money could go towards them. Like, this is a tweet that BR Gridiron posted. These guys would have gotten all the money in their day. You could go look at Lamar Jackson, RG3, Johnny Manziel, um, Cam Newton, and then Tim Tebow. And it's kind of funny because you look at the four of them, they all really were not successful. I mean, Tim Tebow is now, three of them haven't. Cam Newton's been successful, and Lamar Jackson so far has been successful. But you just found $100 divided among the college merch. So now you can actually buy their merch. And, that's what I'm saying. Like, they can make their own merch. You can make money off of that. That's what it is. Simple as that. It's not really simple, but it's, once you get it, I guess it's kind of simple. And like I said, I might not be completely, I might have not gone into all the logistics and all that stuff, but that's also because some of that stuff's just too complicated. When you get into the logistics and get into the Supreme Court and all that stuff gets too complicated. But all I know is now players can make their own logo, all that stuff. And once they, people start buying it, people start talking about it, buying it, putting on t-shirts, all that stuff, you can profit off of that. Then all of a sudden, let's just say you get to pro sports, it continues to grow. Not saying it's going to happen for everyone, but a brand like a Nike or a brand like an Under Armour or any brand out there could come after you and try to partnership with you. And I know Bo Nix has already had a partnership. He's with a very small brand. It's a small brand, but it's still a brand. So he's a partnership. So, for example, whenever someone buys that brand, he'll get a little bit in return and stuff like that. I know Derek King, who is the Miami quarterback, has announced that he has already made his own brand. So you could actually go onto his shop and stuff like that. So that's so he's got his own logo now as well, and he's got his own logo as well, which you could shop and, put it on, it's on a hat, shirt, whatever. And now people could, buy a shirt and, he'll profit off of that. That's kind of what it is. Derek King, Miami quarterback, by the way. So, many people have already been taking advantage. Bo Nix, Graham Mertz. I know some college athletes. I believe Deontay Allen, who's on Kentucky. I believe he's already made some money. He's already put some stuff on it. I could actually check Deontay. Yeah, so it looks like he's already started to do some stuff there as well. Like I said, not all athletes will, but for the most part, I would assume most will. You also gotta be a big name. You can't be a third string punter and do it, because that's just, you're not gonna get as big that way. But if you're a starting quarterback for a big name school, or you're a player for a big name school, and you get a role on that team, you're definitely gonna get. People are gonna you're gonna get your opportunity to really grow your brand and stuff like that, and really create a name for yourself. So that's what I got there for the new NCAA NIL deal. And yeah, that's what I got for that. Comment down below your thoughts on it. And there's definitely actually some pretty cool logos out there. Some of the guys have already made. But yeah, hopefully that was a good segment. I know, like I said, I'm not crazy, informed in it. Like, I don't know all the logistic when it gets down to the Supreme Court and all that stuff. But the fact is, some players will now get the profit off of their logos, and tell you what, some of the logos are pretty cool. So that's what I got for that. Coming up next here, I'm going to get to the All-Star Game starters for the MLB. Some big names are in there. I wouldn't say really any big surprises. There's definitely some, big names, and there's definitely some guys that maybe were a little bit of surprise, but I'm not really too surprised about it. But hey, it's the All-Star Game starters for the MLB. All-Star Game, obviously, July 13th, and yeah, it's exciting. So I'll get into that coming up next. All right, so we welcome you back here. MLB All-Star Voting 2021. AL, NL starting rosters, leaders, and final results. So, yes, the MLB All-Star Voting has officially, been done. Now, reserves have not been yet released. I don't quite know when they'll be exactly released. I know starters were last night. Reserves will probably be soon. But, yeah, starters were released last night. And obviously, the 2021 MLB All-Star Game is on July 13th, which it feels like a long time since we have an All-Star game. It's actually technically been 2 years now since we've had one. Obviously, last season, with the shortened year, 60-game season, there was no All-Star Game, nothing like that. And they didn't, but the NHL did not have an All-Star Game either. The NBA had an All-Star Game. The NFL had their Pro Bowl virtually thing. That was kind of weird. But the MLB, this is I guess you got to say the first real normal All-Star Game since everything is starting to reopen, because there's going to be, a packed house. They're going to have all the, activities and all that stuff, and obviously the Home Run Derby and the Futures Game. And you start off, it's that big weekend. You have the Futures Game, I believe, on Friday. Then usually the Home Run Derby Saturday. And then the All-Star Game Sunday. And that's kind of it. And obviously, it's an All-Star break, too. So you get some time off. For the players that are, going to the All-Star Game, they won't get any real time off. They will have to go there. They will be at the All-Star Game. But yeah, looking at it, and I'll get to that in a second. Looking at the All-Star Game, All-Star Game ballot, I wouldn't really say there was any major surprises, with it. Now, you can maybe say there were some surprises, like maybe Cedric Mullins not getting in. I don't really think that's a surprising thing, because he's a smaller name guy in a small organization with a struggling Baltimore Orioles team. If you look at a Cedric Mullins or a guy like Mike Trout, who are you going to probably vote in? More people are probably going to go with Mike Trout. But I don't really think, I don't look at this, and there's times where I look at All-Star games, and I'm like, oh my God, how did this guy not make it? How did that guy not make it? Or, why is this guy in? Right, and I didn't really notice that really this time with, I didn't really notice there was any big snubs, snubs obviously in terms of, not making the All-Star game. I didn't really notice that this time. I really didn't. Now, in years past, have we witnessed some, players that didn't make it, or maybe should have been starters, weren't starters? Yes, we definitely saw that. And, no really surprises. It was kind of all the same thing. I mean, like I mentioned, it's the best of the best. And if you're, upset that, one of your favorite players didn't make it, well, you got to look at the numbers. If he's batting .250, and, he's a big name, but if he's batting .250, he's probably not going to make it, because you also got to look at all the other stats. You also got to look at, how their defense and stuff is. Shohei Ohtani, for example, he made it. Well, he's, of course, going to make it. He's been amazing at the plate, and he's been amazing on the mound. Of course he's going to make it. And same thing with, like, an Aaron Judge. He's been very good in the field, and he's been very good at the plate. He's been amazing. So, some people might say, oh, this guy should be in, this guy shouldn't be, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I thought this year, if you look at the numbers, if you look at, some potential replacements, like Mookie Betts, I agree with him not being, a starter. Nothing against Mookie Betts or anything, but has he really had that good of a year? No. He's batting .247 right now. Yes, his defense has been very good, but he's batting .247. You could say, oh, Francisco Lindor, is he going to be reserved? No. Yeah, he might be a big name, but he's batting .212. Sure, he makes plays in the infield, but no, his offense is terrible. And it's been terrible all year. So when I look at this year's All-Star ballot, I look at this year's as it was, I think, fair to say that there wasn't many surprises. I don't think there was many snubs. I thought everything was pretty evenly, matched out. I thought everything was pretty good. And at the end of the day, the players who made it were in, and the players who didn't, you're going to be reserves. And usually you really get the snubs when you get to the reserves. Because if you're not a reserve and people think that you should have been a reserve, that's really when you get to snubs. Because it's a different level from being a starter and a reserve. It's a different level. It really is. Being a starter means that you're up there in the top 10 this year in the league. Top 15 in the league. Being a reserve means that, you're still very good, and don't get me wrong, but you're not up there in the top 10, top 15 in the league. And it's fair to say that Vlad, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Judge, all those guys out there have had amazing seasons. Freddie Freeman, Tatis, Acuna, Nolan Arenado, Teoscar Hernandez, Xander Bogaerts, Devers. It's very fair to say that all those guys have had excellent seasons and can be considered top 15, top 18 in the league. And Shohei Ohtani, we all know what he can do at the plate. With his amazing ability. I mean, the guy's just unbelievable. He could pitch really good. I know he didn't pitch good against the Yankees, but that was one bad start. He's amazing with his pitching, and his batting is another level. And, the Yankees star Aaron Judge is also in. And, if you're a Yankee fan, you could say, oh, well, LeMahieu was a snub. And Marcus Semion's at second base there. I think LeMahieu's going to make it. I definitely agree. I definitely think LeMahieu should make it. I would assume that he's going to be reserve, which isn't bad. He still made an All-Star game. One thing I noticed here that was kind of funny is the infield is split up between teams for the American League. So the left side of the infield from first base to second base is, the right side of the infield rather from first base to second base is Vlad Guerrero and Marcus Semien, both Blue Jays. And then the left side of the infield from third base, shortstop and third base is Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers. So you got two Blue Jays on the right side of the infield and two Red Sox on the left side of the infield. So chemistry shouldn't be a problem in the infield. It's not like you have, this guy and this team and this guy here and that guy there. Chemistry shouldn't be an issue. Devers and Bogaerts play together, and Semien and Vlad play together. So it shouldn't be an issue at all. When you get to the outfield and you get into the, different stuff and, get to the three different players, and I've talked about this, the amount of talent that's on the Blue Jays roster really came to show with this All-Star voting. There is three Blue Jays in the starting lineup. Teoscar Hernandez and Vlad and Marcus Semien. There's three Blue Jays. So, talk about talented roster, three Blue Jays. And other than that, you got Nick Castellanos and Jesse Winker from the Reds. Those are teammates. And Acuna and Freddie Freeman are teammates. And other than that, there's no other teammates. But three Blue Jays. So far, Blue Jays lead the way with starters. Three Blue Jays are in. So let's just get into it. So the starting lineups for the 2021 Major League Baseball All-Star Game have been set. Leading the teams will be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays and Fernando Tatis Jr. of the San Diego Padres. Other notables joining Guerrero and Tatis as starters for the Midsummer Classic in Colorado are Los Angeles Angels two-way star Shohei Ohtani, Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves, and Rafael Devers of the Boston Red Sox. Here are the full starting lineups for the 2021 All-Star Game. So I'm going to read you these. So these are the American League All-Stars. Catcher Salvador Perez from the Kansas City Royals. First baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. from the Toronto Blue Jays. Second baseman Marcus Semien from the Toronto Blue Jays. Third baseman Rafael Devers from the Boston Red Sox. Shortstop Xander Bogaerts from the Boston Red Sox. Center fielder Mike Trout from the Los Angeles Angels. Right fielder Aaron Judge from the New York Yankees. Left fielder Teoscar Hernandez from the Toronto Blue Jays. And DH Shohei Ohtani from the Los Angeles Angels. He'll be DH. I don't know if he'll get in there and pitch. He might. So that's the American League All-Stars. And the National League starters are those American League starters, rather. National League starters are catcher Buster Posey from the San Francisco Giants. First baseman Freddie Freeman from the Atlanta Braves. Second baseman Adam Frazier from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Third baseman Nolan Arenado from the St. Louis Cardinals. Shortstop Fernando Tatis Jr. from the San Diego Padres. Center fielder Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Atlanta Braves. Right fielder Nick Castellanos from the Cincinnati Reds. And left fielder Jesse Winker from the Cincinnati Reds. So you look at it, I don't really see. Now you might say, oh, Chris Taylor should be in the outfield for the National League. No. Jesse Winker, Nick Castellanos have both had amazing seasons. I think Salvador Perez is a obvious move. Don't even start with the Gary Sanchez stuff that he should be ahead of Salvador Perez. No. Big X, no. Salvador Perez should be the starting catcher for the American League. Now, National League is what's interesting. Because Buster Posey's had an amazing year. The only argument I would make is Yadier Molina. But Buster Posey's had an amazing year. I agree with Buster Posey being in. I do. I mean, the San Francisco Giants have had an amazing year alone. They're a team that's just been amazing this season, and it's really surprising for a team that, last year struggled, for a team that's just coming out this year and just having an amazing season. And it's one of those years where it's like they're like the Boston Red Sox, a team that looked like they were taking a step back and kind of rebuilding a little bit. They're atop of their respective divisions, and that's an NL West division with the Dodgers and the Padres in it. And that's the NL in general with a lot of really good talent out there. So I don't really see where there's many snubs here. Don't start with the Gary Sanchez should be in. Don't. No. Salvador Perez is one of the best catchers in baseball. He should be in, no doubt about that. Some people that might say Chris Taylor. No. Jesse Winker's had an amazing season. Look at the numbers, they speak. I mean, it's obvious. Mike Trout, even though he's been injured, I mean, what he does when he's out there is just unbelievable. That's one thing that I found funny. Trout's been injured for the past couple weeks here. I believe maybe a month. But how good he is, they had to put him in anyway. Teoscar Hernandez has had an amazing under-the-radar season. Definitely agree with him. Who else? Who else is on here that maybe could have been? Adam Frazier. I guess you could debate about, whether or not to put someone else in front of him. But that's another thing, too. On a Pirates team that has had a really bad season. They're rebuilding. He's like the lone bright spot. He kind of sticks out on that team. It's like, it's a bunch of just meh. And then it's Adam Frazier, and he sticks out on that team, and he's had a good season. Freddie Freeman, without a doubt, agree with that. Ronald Acuna. I mean, you're talking about the biggest stars. You're talking about the Freddie Freemans, the Tatises, the Arenados, the Acunas, the Judges, the Trouts, the Vlads. Those are your guys that are going to be your solid stars. Those are going to be the guys that are going to be your starters. Right? Those are going to be them. And obviously Vlad Guerrero Jr., he led the voting. And, I mean, he's had an amazing year, and this is an amazing thing I wanted to show you. So, Guerrero is having MVP caliber season for the Blue Jays. He leads all of MLB with a 440 on base percentage and a 1.108 OPS, while ranking second in the AL with a .668 slugging percentage. So this is something I wanted to show you. This is something I thought was really crazy. At 22 years old, 119 days old, Vlad Guerrero Jr. will be the youngest Blue Jays player to start an All-Star game. He will also be the youngest player to start at first base since George Scott in 1966. Now, another stat. With Vlad Guerrero Jr. being the AL first base starter, Vladimir Guerrero will join this list of players to start at least one All-Star game and have a son to start one. Bob and Brett Boone, Ray and Bob Boone, Bobby and Barry Bonds, and Cecil and Prince Fielder. This is another thing. Tatis has shown a lingering effects from shoulder issue that landed him on the injured list earlier in the season, but the Padres superstar leads the MLB in slugging percentage .705 and is atop the NL in home runs, in homers 26 and OPS 1.092. And then you go into all the other players. But this is the MLB All-Star, the big voting. So Vlad Guerrero Jr. this season, 336, 26 home runs, 66 RBIs, 15 doubles, 64 runs scored, a .66 slugging. 668 slug. And let's look at Judge's stats. He's batting .285, 18 home runs, 42 RBIs, 11 doubles, 44 runs scored, .522 slugging percentage. And then you get into, Ohtani with the 277, 291, 336, 278, 329. Devers had a good year at 288. Trout's obviously 333. And so career selections is 7th. So this is Salvador Perez's 7th All-Star game. Vlad's 1st. Simeon's 1st. Devers is 1st. Bogarts is 3rd. Trout's 9th. Judge's 3rd. Teoscar Hernandez is 1st. And Ohtani's 1st. And then you head to the National League. And, Buster Posey had an amazing year, batting .330, 12 home runs, 27 RBIs, 8 doubles, 33 runs scored, and a .560 slugging. And then you get to Adam Frazier, who's batting 327. You get to Acuna batting 280. Tatis batting 300. Jesse Winker 325. Nick Castellanos 346. And you look at the career selections. Posey, this is his 7th. Freddie Freeman, this is his 5th. Adam Frazier, this is his 1st. Nolan Arenado's 6th. Tatis is 1st. Acuna 2nd. Castellanos is 1st. And Jesse Winker's 1st. So yeah, and like I said, everyone's saying Nick Mullins, not Nick Mullins, Cedric Mullins over Teoscar Hernandez. The stats speak for himself. Teoscar Hernandez 302, 11 home runs, 47 RBIs, 13 stolen bases, 31 runs scored, .492 slugging. I get Cedric Mullins might have slightly better batting average. I think if you look at it, he might be batting 3 something. But I mean, you also got to realize Teoscar Hernandez has been a big part of that winning there in Blue Jays. They've been better recently. Cedric Mullins, not that it means everything on the team, but he's had a very good season. But I don't know. I think these are perfectly fine. Alrighty, so these are the American League. These are the results here. Obviously, the Vladimir Guerrero led all voting. So Vlad leads all in All-Star Game votes. Blue Jays star becomes the youngest player ever to be overall leader in MLB All-Star votes. Second in home runs, second in RBIs, third in average, first in OPS. Yeah, that'll get you the most All-Star votes. And yeah, so Vladimir Guerrero Jr., most overall fan votes. He's the youngest player to ever do it. And like I mentioned, when this guy came up, we all knew he was going to be special. It took some time, but his true colors are officially coming out now. And I'm excited about Judge. I've said it the whole year. He's had an amazing season. He's been healthy. He's been hitting the ball well. Definitely Judge deserves to be in. So that's your All-Star Game starters. Comment down below if you think there were any others, if there were any snubs, if you think any players got snubbed, and or do you agree like me, or if there's any surprising ones in there as well. Alrighty, so let's get to the New York sports update here to finish off the podcast. As for yesterday in the NBA, the Bucks won 123-112. They moved to 3-2 in the series. And there's no games on today in the NBA. NHL, today we got the Lightning and Canadiens. As much as I don't really, not that I don't want it to be a sweep. I think the Lightning are going to win tonight. The Lightning are playing, the Canadiens played better in Game 3, or Game 2, no doubt about that. They were getting more pressure on the net. They had the very unlucky goal at the end of the, second period. Nick Suzuki's looking really good. It might just be they need to be in their own building, but this is a must-win game tonight for the Canadiens. Canadiens lose tonight, you fall down 3-0. It's over. It's over. But it must-win game tonight for the Canadiens. So the Canadiens need to do what they did on Wednesday, but with those chances, try to take advantage of them. It's going to be hard because you got Andrei Vasilevskiy, and that's what I said at the beginning of the series. It's going to come down to goaltending. Vasilevskiy, Carey Price. And they've both been very good so far, but, Vasilevsky's not been easy to get pucks past them. All playoff long, and especially in this series. Alright, as for the MLB, yesterday the Rockies won, Diamondbacks won, Reds won, Brewers won, Braves won. Let's see here. Dodgers won, Astros won, Rangers won, White Sox won, Mariners won, and Red Sox won. And as for today, we got the Phillies, Padres. Let's see. I'll give Padres the win. Brewers, Pirates, give Brewers the win. Dodgers, Nationals, I'll give Nationals the win. Rays, Blue Jays, give Rays the win. Actually, no. Yeah, Rays. Astros, Indians, give Astros the win. Reds, Cubs, give Reds the win. White Sox, Tigers, give White Sox the win. Braves, Marlins, give Braves the win. Rockies, Cardinals, give Rockies the win. Twins, Royals, give Twins the win. Angels, Orioles, give Angels the win. Giants, Diamondbacks, give Giants the win. A's, Red Sox, give A's the win. And Rangers, Mariners, give Rangers the win. Don't have to do two separate games here. Yankees and Mets both play today, and they play against each other. First game of the 3-game set Subway Series. weekend series here. So today we got the Yankees versus the Mets. Yankees come in this game 41-39. Mets come in this game 41-36. This game comes on today, 7:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on MLB Network. You could also find this game on Yes Network and SNY as well. So obviously all the networks for the Yankees and the Mets. The Mets got Taijuan Walker on the mound. He's 6-3 with a 2.38 ERA, and the Yankees got Jordan Montgomery on the mound. He's 3-2 with a 4.06 ERA. The over/under for this game is set at 9, and 66% of people say the Yankees will win. I just don't feel confident. Tomorrow, I feel confident with Cole on the mound. Taijuan Walker's been good. I just don't know about it. I don't know. I'll leave that as it's the Yankees just got to jump on them early. And the bullpen's got to stay. I mean, you just can't blow games like 8-4 again. I'm just worried that the Yankees are going to be all caught up in that deflating loss. That's all I'm worried about. But I agree with people. I agree with people thinking the Yankees will win because it's the Subway Series. You might come out and, do that. But, I also see where people could see when the Mets win. It's going to be tough. I guess I'll give Yankees the win because it's the Subway Series and I just can't do it. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard series. There's no other way of saying it. And it's going to be hard for both teams. But the Yankees are going to have to find a way to get jump on this Mets pitching. They're lucky they don't got to face DeGrom. But Walker's been good and Stroman's been good. So, Yankees got to find a way. But as for fantasy baseball, today I'm currently winning 199-162. Today I've got going Yadier Molina, Jake Cronenworth, Marcus Semien, Austin Riley, J.P. Crawford, Carlos Correa, Matt Olson, Christian Yelich, Whit Merrifield, Austin Meadows, Dylan Carlson, Josh Rojas, and Will Smith. And, all right, so two injury updates. I have here. So, Avisail Garcia. Garcia is dealing with soreness in his left hamstring, but is expected to be available off the bench Thursday at Pittsburgh. Will Salmon of The Athletic Report. So, that was yesterday. He was out yesterday. And another thing with Zach Eflin. Eflin was scratched from Thursday's start against the Marlins due to congestion and body aches. Matt Breen of the Philadelphia Inquirer reports. So he was out yesterday. That game ended up getting postponed anyway. So you just got to hope that they get healthy here. And then Frankie Montas, I got him on the mound. Although I'm considering getting rid of Frankie Montas, actually. Depending on how he does. If he has another bad start, I'll probably get rid of him. But, we'll see how it all plays out. So that's what I got there for the fantasy baseball. Get you ready for your weekend. And I'm going to just X out of this. And, Yankees Mets this weekend. Going to be exciting. Everybody enjoy your 4th of July. Obviously, that's on Sunday. So, everybody enjoy your 4th of July. That should be good. A big 4th of July weekend of sports ahead of us. Yankees Mets tonight. Then Saturday and Sunday. Like I mentioned, it's a weekend series. So, I'll recap it all when we get back on, obviously I start the podcast again on Monday. I'll recap it all. And, with all that being said, that will do it for the podcast here today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. As always, you all know I take breaks on the weekends. So, everybody, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your 4th of July. Enjoy all the sports that are on. Yankees, Mets, go Yankees. Yankees got to find a way to win. Simple as that. We got to jump on pitching early. We need good pitching. We need a good start for Monty, which I trust Monty. He's been good. I trust him a whole lot more than some of our other pitchers in the rotation. The 4.07 ERA is it's been a little rough for him considering that Red Sox game, when he had to go out there and pitch and they had, the 6 infield hits or 5-6 infield hits. Not much you could do about that. And that's one of the things that people always talk about with pitching. If you could force light contact, you're going to make a living in the MLB. And Montgomery's been able to do that. And as much as I focus on stats and look at a lot of stats, and I do it all the time, I like looking at stats. I like looking what guys can do, numbers, situational stuff. Monty's a guy that if you watch him and then you look at the numbers, he's two completely different pitchers. You watch him and he's got good stuff. He doesn't let up that many home runs. He's a light. He forces a lot of light contact. But then you look at the numbers, and he's got a 4.07 ERA, which isn't terrible, but it's not ideal. But I mean, like I said, that Red Sox game, that's a perfect game for an eye test. They weren't hitting him hard. They had 2-3 good hits. Other than that, it was 5-6 light ground balls in the infield. I mean, you can't do anything about that. And he forces a lot of light contact. And that's what I'm hoping against a Mets team that has struggled against hitting. I'm hoping he continues to force that light contact and, things like that. And, it's a big game because you can get game one, then you got Cole on the mound tomorrow. You got to feel confident about that. And then you get into Sunday, and at least if you take the first two, you win the series. So, Yankees-Mets this weekend, 4th of July. Like I mentioned, take breaks on the weekend. So, everybody enjoy your 4th of July. Enjoy all the sports. And I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.